Moving on to topic 2, let's talk some video games. I wanted to talk about kind of like the ups and downs, the pros and cons of my experiences of, like, I don't know how you exactly name or what the exact name of the genre is, but it's like open world survival games. So games like your Minecraft, your Stardew Valley, your Grounded, your any game where it's kind of open-ended and you can kind of just do whatever you want, but you need to gather resources, survive. Maybe survival strategy, maybe that's the name of the genre. And the pros and cons of it. If you've been watching stream lately, first of all, thank you for doing that. You've noticed that Jeff and I have been playing Grounded together. It's essentially like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and you're out in the front yard and your kid's trying to deal with all these bugs and you're trying to figure out how to get back to normal size. Collect resources from the bugs, food, water, build a base, etc. And it's been a fun time. First off, just hanging with Jeff, obviously, twitch.tv/JeffReg. It's been fun hanging out with him, but also it's just like any of these games. They're really fun to start off because it's that allure of like mystery and at least for this game, like the puzzle behind the story of like, wait, why are we in this situation? And it's figuring everything out. What do I need to prepare? What do I need to build? What keeps me progressing in this story? And early on, all of this is exciting. Another game that recently I played on stream after years, RimWorld. RimWorld is another perfect example of this. And while this mystery and allure of like solving things and figuring out what resources you need can be exciting, I think it can also be a detriment as well, and that's sometimes where my hang up is. In these games, sometimes they're too open-ended because there's no central focus. There's obviously things you need to accomplish and you need to do. If we're going to talk about like Stardew Valley, like they have their missions that you can either accept at the general store or maybe you're running errands for people. But sometimes some of these games, it's almost, once again, too open, and you have that choice of freedom of like, you could go this way, you could go that way, you could go this way. And you're just sitting there and you're like, where do I put my focus? If I'm going to talk about Stardew once again, do I go to the mines? Do I attack the little monsters to get the resources there? Or do I focus on the farm? Duh, always focus on the farm. Or do I go fishing? If it's something like Grounded, it's like, okay, do I build my base up? Or do I go over here and trying to get a certain bug type so I can upgrade my materials or my weapons? Or if it's RimWorld, it's like, okay, I've made my base, but then it's being lost of like, what do I do now? Do I just kind of wait for events to happen around me? And I would say that's a down point for most of these games in the genre, is just sometimes like the sense of direction. Minecraft could be another one, but that's kind of like the biggest one because there is no story mode. Base Minecraft, I know obviously they've made a Minecraft with a story mode, then they got Minecraft Legends coming out, but the end game, of Minecraft is the Ender Dragon, right? But you don't have to tackle the Ender Dragon. Other than that, it's like, okay, what do I do? You set up your house, great. You could set up a farm, great. Set up a farm of animals, great. You have these check marks, but then after a certain point, once you kind of get those things checked, whether it's any of these games, you hit that point and that void of like, okay, what now? And I know a lot of people put hours upon hours upon hours into these games. Stardew has blown up since it's first launched, obviously, and people still play that game. And like, hey, you do you know, you're having a fun time. Awesome. Like, I always love jumping into these games, and there is an excitement, but then it reaches that level once again of just like, now what? And it's kind of like, I don't know, kind of a little bit, not demoralizing, but like, that negative feeling of like, dang, I was really having a good time, but then it's either there's no direction where you have no idea what you want to do, or it's the opposite where there's too much that you can do and you can't focus your energy anywhere. So I don't know if it's just something I need to do as a player, or if it's something that maybe these games could do better, but kind of like give a system, or not a checklist, but kind of things like to chase after. Like, hey, great, you got your house. Okay, let's focus on the farm. Okay, you got your farm. Let's focus on crafting better stuff or cooking or whatever. I don't know. But if they gave these more concrete goals, I think that would help me personally kind of keep me going. And maybe these mechanics are in the games and I'm just missing it. Sometimes they are, but then they kind of just give you everything at once, like in your quest log. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't help me. For example, with Grounded, Jeff and I are very different players. He just wants to, go with the story. And I'm like, well, I feel like we should kind of get some more resources, prep a little bit, blah, blah, blah. Like, and obviously there's that variance there of like how we want to experience it and play it. And that's fine. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with how he wants to play. There's nothing wrong with how I want to play. It's just, if you're going to progress, you got to work not in a straight line, but from point A to point B. You can't be, here's the end point, and then no. Oh, let's go over here, and then let's go down this way, and then let's go up this way, because then there's no progress towards the end. And eventually you're just going to get frustrated because you're not checking that box for yourself, whether it's in the game and seeing it visually, or just, hey, we had this goal we were trying to do. It still isn't done. So with games like this, where it gives you all these options, I just feel it can be frustrating from time to time. So I don't know. Once again, maybe it's just how I'm playing them. Maybe I just need to be more, I guess, not diligent, but there's a term I'm thinking of, more strict with myself, I guess, of just like, okay, I have this thing. Now what do I do? And then circling back on before, I feel like I'm jumping around a little bit. Sorry about that. But then there's the question of like, okay, I did check all the boxes. What do I do now? I'll go with Minecraft for this, just because it's probably the easiest example I can think of, or even RimWorld, just because I don't have a ton of experience in that game's story. But, you know what, fuck it, I'll go with RimWorld just because of recency. So you crash land, you set up your base. Great. Everybody's got a bedroom. Great. You got your butcher table to cut up animals. You got your dinner thing so you can cook meals. Great. You have storage to put all your shit in. You got a freezer to put your food in. Great. You got your power so you have electricity. Great. You got your farms going outside. Great. Then what? Like, after you get everything situated, there's not, as far as I know, RimWorld, there's no sense of direction. And games, when it gets to this point, it's like, okay, so why should I keep playing? And I think a game that did a decent job of this, along the same lines, a little bit different, but is Fallout Shelter. Fallout Shelter initially, I think, was a mobile game, then it came to consoles. I think it's on PC too. But with that game, you had to get your resources. You had your energy of your electricity, and you had water that you had to get. And gradually it would deplete over time because you're using the resources, duh. But you had these rooms that were designated for getting you those resources. So you'd still make your vault underground just like any of these other games with a farm or a house or whatever it is. But then you would have missions that you have to leave your vault and specifically go out for. And I feel like that was a better system. Also, your base would get attacked from time to time if you don't have, either it just happen randomly, or for some reason it would happen because of certain events. Like bugs would either appear in certain rooms that you need to take care of, or if it was a raid, raiders would attack the top. And it just felt like there wasn't these long extended pauses in between those events. It seemed like they happened enough that things were going on, but not all the time that you felt like there was no recovery time. Like you were just getting fucking punched in the face over and over again. I don't know. Maybe it was just me understanding the mechanics of Fallout Shelter a little bit more compared to these other games. But I felt that even though it was similar, and that it was this resource builder and building your colony, your vault, whatever, there were things that were happening as well as the building that made you feel like progression was happening. Was there technically an end game to Fallout Shelter? No. I think I put maybe 100 hours into that game, got the platinum for it on PlayStation, and it was like, that is my ending point. I hit my goal. I got all these trophies. Checkaroo, And that could be said that could also be said for a lot of these titles in these genres, is they can be endless. I know Stardew has either the 2-year or 3-year point where it's like, okay, did you do well on your farm to impress your grandfather enough, or did you not? So there's technically an end point. I think you still keep farming freely after that point. But then you get something like Minecraft, which we already touched on. There's no true end unless you tackle the Ender Dragon. But then even after that, it's just, okay, you did it. Now back to the overworld, and you're back on your farm. I don't know if, just for me, if that course was kind of laid out a little bit better, if that would make the experience more satisfying for me. And once again, some of these games do it, but they don't give like this one path. It's just like, here's everything, yeah, and they chuck it at you, and you're like, I don't know. You're just overwhelmed with all these choices and things like that. Like, I have that in normal life. I don't need that in here. So I don't know. This is probably just me on a soapbox ranting and raving about things that I probably could be better with, for sure. But they are fun overall, and I suppose that's overall supposed to be the point. It's just those points where I hit that wall, that barrier of just like, why am I all of a sudden now not interested in this game anymore? And it's either because the lack of direction, or there's too much direction. It's not that middle ground of like, there's the carrot dangling in front of me to chase after, and it's enticing enough to chase after. I think overall would be, I guess, how to wrap it up nice and neat in a bow of just these experiences. But they are fun. I'm looking forward to diving more into these titles to try and see if maybe I'm missing something or whatever. Like I said, Grounded has been fun, and maybe that's playing it with Jeff, having that other user experience with me, bouncing ideas off of each other. What do we want to chase? Things like that. And then RimWorld is exciting just because it seems like it's so in depth with its mechanics, and like trying to figure it all out and remember, oh, this does this, this does this. I hear there's a story to RimWorld, or at least an objective to chase, but they don't lay it out super clearly. And then another title that is coming out in a few months that has elements of these games, but seems like has a more point-to-point story, is Cult of the Lamb. And I'm excited for it. The art style looks adorable, and the story is intriguing enough. I'm just hoping that the story is as focused as it seems to be from the trailer and from the demo that is on Steam right now. You still have to recruit followers to your cult. You still have to build a little fort with base camps, with food and resources that you need. But it seems like you do that, go out and tackle a boss. You come back, you do that, you go out and tackle a boss. It seems like there is an end point that you're working towards. I guess it's kind of like a Warcraft, not online Warcraft, but not World of Warcraft, but Warcraft, the good Warcraft. Kidding. Well, maybe. That real-time strategy game where you build all these resources. Obviously, like your peons, or that was orcs. what did you call them if you were humans? Were they just dudes? I don't remember. But you get your dudes. They build stuff for you. You got your barracks. You got your gold mines. They get the resources. They chop down trees. But obviously the end point was, okay, you need to go out and you need to take out the enemy bases. You could take as long as you wanted to build up your army and stuff, but obviously the other people were doing that too. So the end goal was always present. I know it's a different genre because it's a real-time strategy compared to these survival strategy, but I think taking that element of that point-to-point story, or at least these clear defined goals, and throwing into survival kind of would make them more intriguing. But overall, they are fun. They do allow you to be, patient and creative and give you the freedom to do all these different things. It's just when it gets to that kind of crescendo, that point where it's like, okay, I've done everything I can, now what? That's the danger zone where I personally lose interest. But I don't know, just wanted to vent, just wanted to share my experience with these titles because they are a lot of fun. I want to get more out of them, and just want to play more. Be excited about playing more and not have it just fizzle out and die away. Well, this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011. You can catch this live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the chat if you're a subscriber over there. Love to have you in on all the fun. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, #ad merch store. Get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us. And we'd love you for it. Appreciate you guys hanging out today. I know it was a little bit of a shorter one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the 2 topics. We'll continue to be back, bringing on guests, doing more solo episodes, having some fun with that. But I appreciate you guys hanging out, giving this a watch, giving it a listen, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.